Hello and welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Happy Tuesday. It is How to Tarot Tuesday, and what that is it is a weekly series that I do every Tuesday where I start with the first card of the 78 card tarot, and each week we pick the next card. We go card by card throughout the 78 card tarot. And what we do first is we look at the symbolism and talk about the meaning of the card. And then I go ahead and let you, the watcher, choose from one of 3 tarot decks. I choose the images that I think best represent the card that we're talking about. And then I go ahead and do a reading to see how that card manifests in your life. Today's card is the 3 of Wands. So we've gone through the entire Major Arcana, and now we are starting with the Minor, and we have started with the Suit of Wands. So what I do is the first deck is always going to be the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. The second deck I went with is the Slow Tarot by Lacey, Bryant, and the third deck that I went with is the Vice Versa Tarot. And what I'm going to start doing is I am going to start clarifying the reads a little bit with oracle cards. I have a lot of really wonderful oracle decks, and I just think it adds a little bit more clarification to your read. But I will go ahead and get started. Now, the 3 of Wands is it's an energetic card. Just like you saw when we talked about the 2 of Wands last week, and the 2 of Wands, you saw the person up in the tower, deciding whether or not he was going to try something new. The 3 of Wands, you see someone who's standing on the ledge, right near what looks like an ocean, right, or a lake, like an inlet. You see ships in the distance, and everything is really golden. You see mountains, and you see that he's on a ledge that's very level with what he can see. He has the 2 wands from the previous card, and he has his hand on the 3rd wand. What I think is so interesting is if you look close, it looks like he has armor on the part of his body that you can see, and everything else looks kind of layered. His hair always, I always notice the hair in this card because it looks a little longer, right? It looks like he's been on a journey, right? And he definitely looks like he's not dressed like that nobleman like you saw in the last card. So in that same vein, it looks like, the person from the 2 of Wands really decided to go ahead and pursue, something new, right? So the 3 of Wands definitely means that. It means exploring. It means it's almost as if that second wand bloomed into something else. The 3s definitely mean collaboration, and just like we talked about how, 3s usually mean kind of a culmination in a tribe kind of sense. A lot of times the 2 blossoms into the 3. Sometimes, when we get into the cups suit, the couple, the emotional 2 becomes a 3 with like a family. But with the wands, wands definitely means energy, and it means spirit, and it means drive, and it means action, right? So a lot of times the 3 of Wands definitely means that I always think of it kind of like a ripple. When the rock first hits the water, the first ripple is the initial idea, which is kind of like the ace, right? And then that second echo is like, oh, okay, is this really going to go anywhere? But by the time you get to the 3rd, you're really kind of progressing, right? And the fact that he's no longer up in a tower, we talked last week with the 2 of Wands about how he almost looked like the person looks like he was waiting to present an idea. And here you see someone who is waiting for like ships to arrive. So it's almost as if, and the way that he's dressed is not like a nobleman, right? So a lot of times this can be, if this is some kind of financial endeavor or some kind of business venture, it usually means that your idea has actually grown to something really substantial, something that's really being marketed in the world, right? So I almost think of the Two of Wands as like, if you've ever watched those TV shows about people who are pitching their inventions or pitching their ideas, it's almost as if with the Two of Wands, your idea got picked up, right? And then when you see all these ships, it's almost like you're waiting, you're producing, right? And shipping out your product, right? So that's kind of what the Three of Wands kind of represents. It's going out on a new adventure. It's definitely seeing something existing really grow and expand. The fact that, you know, the Rider-Waite-Smith came out, the images are very much of the time, which was the turn of the century. It was the early 1900s when these images were created. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. But it usually means, the other thing about the ships, this card is notoriously known for being waiting for your ships to come in, right? And it definitely has that meaning. But it can also mean that you are traveling, right? Because this definitely looks like someone is going on an adventure. Sorry to move you there. But the cool thing about this is that the way that this person is scouting out the landscape, this person, you can tell, is not as naive as the two, right? It's almost like he's gone on an adventure and he's gained some experience, right? You kind of, instead of waiting for someone to pitch, accept your idea, it's almost as if this person has kind of been out in the real world and knows how to barter, knows how to trade, knows how to do business, or knows what he's up against, right? Or knows what he's dealing with. Now, a lot of times the way that this person is looking out at a horizon, and again, that sense of knowledge, that sense of action, this person's really kind of with his hand on, in that armored arm, he really seems like he knows what he's doing. And he seems like he's looking out in the distance and anticipating what's going to happen or what's coming towards him, right? So in that sense, the Three of Wands is really about tackling something different. It's about looking out and getting an idea of where something can go next. The other thing is it's a lot about being a visionary, right? Sometimes, a lot of times when I see the Three of Wands, I really do think of we're in a little while, we'll get into the how it manifests as a person, but it's definitely about anticipating the where things are going to go. And it's in that vein, it's very much about being a visionary. It's about kind of envisioning what the greater possibilities could be. This person is looking out and anticipating what could come, and it tends to be with all the gold coloring, like the sun, it's anticipated as positive, right? It's almost as if someone's saying, oh, okay, with these materials, what could I do? Or with this circumstance, where could I go? And it's optimism. And again, the wands are energy and very, very optimistic. Now, the second deck that I went with, the Slow Tarot, I love this depiction because it definitely follows that vein. You got this bright sun, and you got sky, and you got someone who's pointing out into the distance, right? Now, again, with it being wands and being energy, it is kind of like we talked about it being kind of like being your tribe. Sometimes when you have that spark of an idea with the Ace of Wands, and then you're getting good at what you do with the Two of Wands, when you get to the Three of Wands, and just like the Three of Pentacles or the Three of Cups, it means being around. Usually it means following your passion to the extent that you get around others who have the same passion. If you've ever seen that, maybe if you started a hobby and you get all excited, and then before you know it, you start attending, classes or meetings, and you start meeting people who have different but similar, it's your tribe, right? So I definitely like that, because this picture definitely depicts that. It means cooperation with other peoples of your same skill, but you're looking out in the horizon and seeing how, you got this beautiful valley of where you can go, right? And the mountains are really in the distance. So it's almost like you got the ball rolling, right? You got all these beautiful bright orange flowers, and orange is a sign of creativity. It's a sign of growth and passion. So, that's definitely, now the other thing is that with the person in the middle, kind of pointing outwards, the Three of Wands is definitely about leadership. It's about being a leader. It's about kind of knowing what to expect. It's definitely about being in a position where it's about being in a position where you really have a good understanding of the situation or the skill or the, what you're doing. And again, Wands is action, that other people listen to you because and it can definitely mean a situation where you're very strong in what your perception is really the honest truth, because wands are fire, and honesty is a very big fire concept. But it is about anticipating obstacles, and what it always talks about is it talks about foresight, right? It's interesting. At my job, we have principles that we follow, and one of them is one of the meanings of the Three of Wands is we always say taking the long view, right? And here, I with the third deck that I wanted to go with is I went with the vice versa tarot, and I just thought it was so neat because again, with the Rider-Waite Smith, you see the back of the person, right? So it's almost like they're leading, right? But here you see it almost looks like the real life front of this person, right? And he does have armor on. And what's neat is that I always think it's great because the wands on either side of him are just like regular wood, but the wand in his hand is like a magic staff. It's like glowing, right? And what's neat is in his hand he has water and fire, which is almost like the two elements that you see in Temperance, the cup of water and fire. But what I also interpret that as is that water is emotion. It's feeling emotionally drawn to something, and then fire is passion. So this person is passionate about where he's going. And I think those people who are passionate about something really have clear vision, right? I mean, when have you ever followed someone who didn't care about what they were doing, right? Never, honestly, never. Anytime when you found a good leader, it's because they are passionate and they care, and that's water, emotions, right? Caring about what they're doing and their goals, right? So in that way, it's foresight, and it makes you a good leader. Now, the interesting thing about the Three of Wands is that, unlike the Emperor or some of the kings that you see, and again, these are minors, they're not majors. The thing that I always associate, and this is just my personal association with the Three of Wands, is that it's not so much of a reluctant leader, but we'll get into that in a minute. That's probably more of this in the reverse. But it's definitely someone who makes a good leader, but who is modest about it, right? Because it's a minor arcana card. But the fact that the reason that they're such a good leader is because they care about what they're doing, right? They do it because they care and they're invested, right? And by them being invested, they know, they care to learn about the endeavor, they care to take action about that endeavor, and in turn, it just makes them a great leader. It makes them worthy of being followed, right? Now, the other thing is that it can be in that same vein, it can be rallying a group behind you, right? Because the main card, you see the back of him. It's almost like the perception is that you're standing behind this person. And they're not high above you, but they are on a little bit of a ledge, right? And they're stepping up to the ledge, and they have armor on, right? They're ready to face whatever comes, but they have an idea of what is going to happen. The other thing is the fact that you see the perception of being behind the person is that they can be, again, in the same vein of being a leader, they can be a real figurehead. So when you see the Three of Wands, it can mean that maybe you've been tapped to be the representative for something. Either that, or it might be, this situation might involve someone who's being a representative for a group. Now, if when the Three of Wands manifests as a person, it's one of my favorite, this is actually one of my favorite cards for manifesting as a person, because it's interesting. I don't relate to it too much, but personally, but it's interesting how there are times, I have a moon in Cancer in the 9th house, which makes me a little bit, it's so funny. I'm nurturing in a fiery way. I'm nurturing in a learning way. I love to learn, right? But it's amazing how I like to use the knowledge that I obtain to help people understand themselves better and also protect people, right? I like to see people grow. I like to nurture. And but what I always think of when you see that, it's amazing. And I don't think this is just exclusive to Cancerians either, the sun sign Cancers or moon, especially moon. But I think Pisces and I think Scorpios are very good at this too. But have you ever been able to predict the future? Or do you know that person who can just look at the news, and especially we got some scary stuff in the news, but it's almost like you go to this person and ask their opinion about what's going on, because in the past, every single time some path starts to unfold, they are the person that predicts the future the most accurately. And it's something about that perception. It's something about their foresight. They pay attention to the right facts. They seem to know, and it's almost like having a crystal ball. They seem to know what's going to happen, right? And it isn't necessarily being psychic or all-knowing or anything like that. It's just a good instinct. It's a good instinct, and it's amazing how there's been times that I've gotten an inkling about something. I just got this feeling like, okay, that seems like that, I get this feeling like that's going on. And then it never fails. The moment I mention it to something, and, I mention my suspicion to someone, not suspicion in a bad way, but it never fails. It comes back and it's like, guess what? You were right, you were right. And it isn't for the sake, and again, it's not for the sake of being right. It's just, you saw it coming. You saw it coming, right? And in that same vein, this card is also, and I'll throw it out there, it's that notorious waiting for your ships to come in. So again, sometimes when you're seeing this card, it can be that, and it is tax time. Sometimes if you're waiting for your your direct deposit to come in, or you're waiting to hear about something, and it can even be on the small scale. Maybe you're waiting to take, how sometimes you have to reserve your vacation time well in advance, and you're waiting for someone to tell you, hey, this is the weekend that I'm graduating, or this is the weekend, so you can put in. Sometimes it can be that kind of energy, right? It can be as simple as that, but it could be that you're anticipating something and you're waiting for news so you can take action, right? Now, the other beautiful thing about this, and especially with this card, if you saw this next to Temperance, I would definitely think that it's also kind of a leaning back card. So I do think that if it represents a person, it's definitely someone who doesn't take hasty actions, right? Because even though the wands are fiery, they like to take action, they're good at taking action, this person is kind of pausing, right? And again, if you look last week with the Two of Wands, he was very happy up in his tower. He was standing pretty still when he was with the Two of Wands, right? But this is almost a different kind of stillness. He almost looks like, okay, wow, I came down out of that tower, I walked all that way down to the water. And it's almost like he's pausing a minute, right? He's pausing a minute to see, okay, what's going on? The other thing is, with the fact that it's wands and wands are action, there could be shifting data going on. One of the reasons that you might not be lunging forward is because maybe there's something else that is moving. There's gears turning, and it's more than one. So there's multiple factors that need to be considered. So you're not small potatoes anymore, right? So in that vein, it can also be that it's not just my little startup company anymore. Maybe I have to check in with investors. I have to check in with suppliers. I have to wait for my merchandise to come in. So you've got more irons in the fire. So it isn't just, should I do this or should I not? The other thing that I like to always think of with this is that there was a really wise business owner that I once spoke to, and I don't think it was his quote. I think he was quoting someone else, but it was very wise to me, where he said, I said, oh, it must be so nice, to be the boss. You can make your own hours. And he goes, well, when you are your own boss, all of your clients are your boss. So instead of having one boss, you have many. And that's very wise, because just like you said, this guy is not, again, remember that modesty? When this manifests as a person, this is the person that says, I own my own company, but my bosses are all the people I serve, and I have to take into consideration. So that very stoic and kind of, that stillness amongst all this energy, all this wand energy, it's mature in the sense that he's gonna make the right decision, and he's gonna use the wands in the right way to really propel himself forward, right? Now, if you look at the wands, Three of Wands in reverse, the Three of Wands in reverse can definitely mean, to get the stereotypical meaning, it can be the blocking, like your ships aren't coming in. Again, if you see the Three of Wands in reverse next to Justice, it could be that maybe you're in a real drawn out legal battle that's costing you money or costing you resources. It's just making it where you have to wait forever for some kind of resolution. Sometimes it can be that this person is overconfident. Instead of being that modest leader, it's someone who's a little bit cocky, he's not stopping, who's just kind of jumping in willy-nilly and not really giving the veritables, factors, any good consideration. Just like we talked about, being someone who cares about what's going on. Sometimes the Three of Wands can be someone who's not, and I won't say a bad leader, but just maybe someone who isn't invested in the cause, and therefore, they don't put as wise and intuition into it. It might be someone who makes kind of inappropriate decisions just because they're not as into the situation as someone who really cares about what's going on. In that, it can be someone who's having trouble but is too proud to accept help, right? Things could be spiraling out of control, and this person has their back turned, like, no, I got this. You've ever seen that little cartoon where everything's on fire and he's like, I'm fine. It could be, if you see the wands in reverse. It could be opposition. It can be that, maybe there's a really strong competition. It could very well be that this idea where this company is growing is not stable, right? It can be loose. It can mean that maybe you got, you started off strong, but then you got around people who are not out for your best interest, or maybe, just not. I also kind of see it as maybe you got some kind of investment that fell through. That's a big one too. It can also mean that if you're in kind of a group environment, maybe you started off strong and then other people start to lose interest. And that really kind of speaks to me with this image in the reverse, because what it sees is you see one person pointing out into the distance, but then it's in the reverse. So what if you're really passionate about something, but then everybody starts to fall away, like, oh, okay, yeah, good luck with that. And it isn't that you're not a good leader, and it isn't that you don't care about what you're doing. It's just you just don't have other people who are as supportive there anymore. It can be a change, and that really plays into the boats too, because it can be a change of situation, like a sudden one. And it can also mean that just, in that sense, it can be unhelpful alliances. Somebody who's, maybe not as invested as you are. But the last thing that you can see with the Three of Wands is that it can definitely be that maybe someone is utilizing resources to their own end, but most of the time it just usually means maybe a dissolution of your achievements. Like maybe you started off something real strong and then all of a sudden it's starting to fizzle out. But you came pretty far, and that's where it makes you feel almost a little bit more, disheartened, but, definitely any way that you look at it, I do always think that the Three of Wands is still a positive card. It's a very strong one. And, when you think of it as people, it's, I think of merchants a lot, somebody who does commerce or business or trade. And, the other thing is that it can really be any type of, the cool thing about it is that it can really be any type of team or group that you care about. But all right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you choose your deck. Again, we have the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith by A.G. Mueller, and we have a Sunstone. We have the Slow Tarot by Lacey Bryant and a Bloodstone. And then the third deck, we have the Vice Versa Tarot with my lovely Dalmatian Jasper. I love this guy. He's such a positive stone. And to clarify, I'm pulling out a deck that I have not used in a while. I'm going to be using the Soul Journey cards by, the Soul's Journey card by James DeBraw. All the names of the decks are in the description box below. I'm sorry, it's been a while, but it's this deck, and you have a very lucky stone. I have a soft spot for stone animals that have imperfections, and I'd like you to meet. This is Lucky, my left-footed owl. He had an accident well before he met me, where his right foot. So he's got a left foot, and it's his good foot, but he's my luck owl, and I'm gonna go ahead and put him on top of our cards. I'm weird, guys. You know this about me, right? All right. So I do ask that you just please choose from your gut instinct, whatever deck you're drawn to. If you like the artwork, if you like the stone. Some people, one thing that you can do is if you look at each deck and ask the question, how does the Three of Wands manifest in my life? If you feel that kind of twinge in your tummy right behind the solar plexus, or maybe you like the timestamps or the number of the deck. But I'll give you a minute to decide. Please pause the video if you need more time, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. And the How to Tarots do tend to run a little bit longer. I'll try to keep it as succinct as possible so we're not running, but I like to give everybody their due time to, you know, a good solid at least 10-minute reading. All right, so deck number 1, the traditional Rider-Waite Smith. How does the Three of Wands manifest in your life? Let's go ahead and see. How does the Three of Wands manifest? Oh, thank you. And current. Oh, thank you. And future, please. Oh, oh my gosh. All right, let me go ahead and get one clarifier. Okay. And we'll move lefty, my luck owl. Oh my gosh. Right. Awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Okay, we'll get into it. All right, guys. Now, in the past, so your Three of Wands, you know, in the past, you guys have had a lot of hurt. You had a lot of hurt. You could be a man watching this reading, but you have an energy of the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is honestly, I always think of that lyric in the song. If you've ever heard the song by the Eagles called Desperado, it says, "Don't choose the Queen of Diamonds, boy, she'll beat you if you're able, but the Queen of Hearts, she's always your best bet." The Queen of Cups is like the Queen of Hearts to me. She's empathetic, she's emotionally mature, and she's always there for people. I'm very drawn to her hair though here. If you braid your hair, do you either that or you have hair that you like to keep up in a particular style, but you're a very kind person and you understand your own emotions very well. You're very emotionally balanced. You're not a drama person, right? But in the past, you've definitely felt like situations or just life in general has really pinned you down in the past, and it's really hurt you. Now, the beautiful thing about the Ten of Swords, and I had a really sweet commenter tell me this, that, you know, they were comforted by the fact that we had mentioned the one nice thing about the Ten of Swords is it is a culmination of a cycle. A 10 is a completion, it's the end, right? And it means that we're done, you know. It is kind of that put a fork in it card, but the nice thing about it is nothing else can come. I mean, seriously, there's no other swords can fit into this guy's back. We're done. This is over, right? But it pains me, it always pains me to see the Ten of Swords anywhere near the Queen of Cups, because she's such a sweet soul, right? And I don't put personal opinion into the reads, but I do also think that what I'm feeling is I'm getting a strong vibe of, I don't think anybody deserves pain in this life, and I don't think the universe goes about thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna make this person absolutely miserable, right? That's not how any of it works. But there are definitely situations that just come about, and again, I'm getting a sense like you're a very on the level person, and it isn't to say someone deserves or doesn't deserve. All I know is that however this happened, you kept it really, really classy. Like you didn't let it bring you down. And those are those moments in life where you feel like, oh my gosh, this person did not deserve this to happen. And that's the kind of feeling that I get. I think that you kept it on the level when most people would really flip their stuff, right? Most people would just kind of get nasty. It's almost like you didn't fight fire with fire. I'm getting a real fire vibe too, because you got water here. But and later your cards really reflect this too. That's what I was smiling about. But in the past, you definitely you dealt with some pain. You dealt with some pain, and you did it in a very mature way. Now, what I love to see, guys, you got a major. You got the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune is fantastic because it means that the wheel is turning. I did How to Tarot on the Wheel if you want to get a chance to watch it, because it being center and right under your Three of Wands, it basically means that through this painful experience and through you really knowing your emotions, you rode the waves of some BS, right? You rode the waves of some BS and you stayed above it, which is that's evolved. And there's no other word I can think of other than evolved, because many of us are not evolved. You know, there are moments where, you know, even when you keep it together, you go home and just lose it a little bit just to let it out because it's human, right? But I definitely love seeing the wheel, because the wheel means that things are turning in your favor. And it's almost, I'm getting a journeyer's vibe, because again, remember how we said that he went for the second wand, and the second wand took him on a journey, right? And I'm really getting the feeling like you completed a cycle. You went through a really tough cycle, and the universe is ready to have the wheel turn. And it's almost giving you a glimpse of it, is what I'm feeling. You're getting a glimpse. You can see where this is going. That's what I'm getting, guys. You can see where this is going, and it looks bright. It looks bright. And definitely the wheel is so positive, because it means, I also get a feeling like the gears are turning right now, right? This is leaving. This energy is leaving, and you are going forward. Now, what's interesting, what's kind of neat about this is, as you go forward, your future is the Two of Wands, and underneath is the Page of Wands. And I know that seems like it, you know, it's interesting. You would think that the wheel is turning you forward, but when you see the previous card, because this is going from the 3 to the 2, right? And we had a tarot on the 2 last week. And underneath you have the Page of Wands, which is a very innocent energy. It's like being a child. My mom always calls it being stupid like a child, and she doesn't mean that in a demeaning way. She means that in an innocent way. She always says, because it's a blessing. It's isn't it fun? You know, don't you get, we always use the hashtag of adulting, right? Hashtag adulting, you know, why didn't I appreciate naps when I was in kindergarten? But it's almost as if the universe is giving you that opportunity. It's a blessing that it's taking you back to the 2, right? The other thing is that he's up in a tower, and tower means protection, right? It's almost as if by you going through a bad cycle, right? By you went for something, and it definitely, I get the feeling like whatever you went for raked you over the coals. And you didn't, and again, this isn't to say deserving, not deserving, but whatever this experience was it was painful, and it was one of those experiences in life that's just like, God, that was unnecessary, right? You did learn, we always learn things from everything, right? Whatever good, bad, or indifferent we learn. But I think this is the universe's way of saying that you don't have to make this, the Three of Wands, you're seeing something that's coming. It's almost like it's turning back the clock. It's giving you a do-over. I'm getting a real do-over vibe, guys. And what it's telling you, and what I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting, is that the universe doesn't want you to feel hindered, or it doesn't want you to feel hardened by whatever pain you experienced. It's almost like it wants you to go back to the 2. And it wants you to go back to the 2 with an innocence, right? It wants you to be excited. The Page of Swords is that real, like, it is that childlike energy. It's that enthusiasm. I always call it the waking up early to go to summer camp kind of feeling. It's like you get up early because you're just so darn excited. I think that the universe wants you to have that kind of joy again. And for as mature as you are, because you are mature, I think it's just worried. It wants you to look ahead and know that you have some good things coming. And just because one thing didn't pan out, it doesn't mean that everything isn't going to pan out, or it doesn't mean that everything's going to be as painful as this was, this other, and it was just a path, right? It was just a path. You can always, do over. And I really do think moving forward, you are going to have an excitement about this. I'm happy for you guys, because I do think that whatever you did in the past, you were very knowledgeable about, you were very nurturing about. And here, the other thing is the fact that all of these are wands. I really get the feeling that I think that you've cared in the past a lot about other people. And it's almost like this do-over, it wants you to almost be a little bit selfish, not in a bad way, but it wants you to be free. It wants you to be free. And it wants you to be free in a childlike way. It wants you to almost say, okay, how can I get the world? What do I want to do, right? What do I want to do? Because the other thing about the Queen of Cups is that she always cares about other people. She cares about other people's emotions. What's going on with you? How can I take care of you? But she never really thinks about herself too much. And while that's very giving, sometimes that will get you in the path of takers, users, and not in a bad way. I'm not seeing a person who did this to you. It could very well just been a situation or just life, right? Maybe you've just been through a kind of rough couple of years. But I do see that it's almost going to be taking you back a step, but not in a bad way. It's almost like giving you a fresh start, and that fresh start you're going to be very excited about. But I can promise you it's going to be good. And the other thing is that Wheel of Fortune is destiny. It's fate. It's fate. So the other thing that I'm strongly getting is that whatever you've been through, the universe really wants to give you your brownie points. It wants to crown you, and it's almost giving you that protection, because again, I'm getting a real protected vibe. It's almost like, okay, as you look out into the future, what do you want? What will give you the world? Let's go get the world. Let's go get the world. And you see this child, he's out in the world and he's safe, right? It's safe for you to be powerful. It's safe for you to be powerful. It's safe for you to be curious. And it's safe for you to go out and do what you want to do. And what really reinforced that is, first off, you got empathy. I am open to seeing both sides of a situation. Oh, goodness, guys. Empathy. Tell me the Queen of Cups is not all about that. And I am open to seeing both sides of the situation. And isn't the two about a choice? Maybe you experienced something painful because someone, maybe you didn't get chosen, or maybe you felt like, maybe a tough situation kind of made you the fall girl. But you are emotionally mature. Remember, we said that, and you're open to seeing both sides of the situation. But the other thing is, it doesn't mean that you have to halt your life, right? Okay, it's done. Let me move on. Now, the other thing that I love about this is its adversity. I accept that challenges are the best way to learn. Oh gosh, guys, we talked about that, right? He gets back up. He gets back up and says, okay, well, that sucked, but you know what? Time to move on. Time to find something else that makes me happy, right? But I do see that. I think that's very, very positive. And honestly, the other thing that I love about this read is that after all of this ending, and this is very mental too, it's almost mental anguish, I feel like you're going to be enthusiastic. And the other thing that I'm getting is that the universe is giving you your brownie points, and the choice is yours. The choice is yours. What do you want to do? It is possible that maybe in the future you have a choice of between two new projects. But I am getting the vibe like whatever one you choose is actually going to be really good. But I definitely feel like I just have this feeling like the universe wants you to know that you are safe, right? Whatever happened in the past, you're not, if you dare to go into, the other thing is that you might be feeling kind of guarded, right? You're looking ahead because you've been on this journey and you're like, wow, well, whatever I do next, you know, is it gonna knock me flat the way this other adventure did? But I do think that you're gonna approach it with a new enthusiasm, and I think it's gonna make you really happy, you know? Wow, guys, that was really powerful. I liked that. Wow. And I do like that adversity card because it's true, you know? It's funny, you know, we never intentionally go out into life and expect it, you know, to do battle. But all right, guys, so deck number 2, the Slow Tarot by Lacey Bryant. So let's see, how does the 3 of Wands manifest in your life? How does the 3 of Wands manifest in deck 2? Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Gosh, guys, do we have cross watchers? Please clarify the High Priestess. Okay, I'm just going to consider that because it was really sliding off the top. Okay. Got a flipper. Very interesting, guys. Wow. Okay, I'm definitely getting a strong read. What threw me is that in the first pile, in the same first position, we did also have the Ten of Swords, but it was at the bottom. This deck has a little bit more of a graphic Ten of Swords, so I'll just warn you. But in the past, you got the Ten of Swords and you got the Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands is actually a real. I always think of this card. It's very prophetic. Most Seven of Wands, you see people kind of, you know, holding their own. Here you see a young man, almost like an obstacle course, you know. It's a wooden ladder, and it's almost like he's racing up the ladder. He's watching his balance, right? Because, you know, these kind of ladders are not stable. They flip, they turn, they throw you off balance. Sometimes one of those rods might snap and you'd fall. And so it's almost like with every step he's gauging his balance and he's trying to go fast. But, you know, so what the vibe I'm getting, and this is what's coming in real loud and clear, is that I get this feeling like you are trying to outrun, you are trying to outmaneuver the Ten of Swords. Either that, or you've had the Ten of Swords happen to be you before. Maybe I'm getting a real stabbed in the back kind of vibe. I'm really feeling like as if I have a feeling that you're a very innocent personality. I think you know how to survive from a young age. And I know that sounds kind of cryptic, but I don't mean it in a weird way. I just mean it like, I think you're very street smart, and I think that became from life experience. I think that you've probably either seen people get taken advantage of, or maybe someone's tried to take advantage of you, not in a weird way, but just you've seen people really get stabbed, or maybe you've had a few situations in your life where someone got over on you and it made you feel this way. And so what you do is you constantly, you know the obstacle course, you know, not to sound strange, but it's almost kind of like the, you know, you know that ladder, right? You know what you need to do, but you never feel safe. You never stay still long enough to feel safe, right? And remember how we talked about like the Three of Wands being in that position where you're looking ahead positively, where you stop and you actually envision a really bright future. You think you're knowledgeable. The other thing is I'm getting a real knowledge connection here. And what it is that I really think, again, I'm getting the feeling like you're trying to outmaneuver the Ten of Swords. You're trying to not get stabbed in the back, or you've been stabbed in the back before, so you are racing up that ladder and you're trying not to let that ladder flip. You're trying not to lose your balance. You're gauging each step, but you're trying to go as fast as you can without making a false move. And it makes it where you're in a constant state of motion, like you can never slow down, or in the past you felt like you could never slow down. And the fact that this is a younger man, I get the feeling, guys, like you had to grow up quick, right? That kind of breaks my heart, I'm not gonna lie. You had to grow up quick. You had to learn the game. And it's terrible. You shouldn't have to learn any games at that age. You should feel safe, right? But, sorry, I'm not sure where that's coming from. I'm feeling that very strongly. But yeah, maybe you saw somebody really, get over on it, and it made you street smart, but it also it brings about anxiety, though, because if you're in constant, but here, that's the past, right? That's where you're coming from. Now, in the present, you really, you have both, you have the Three of Wands at the top, you got the Two of Pentacles in the middle, and you got the Four of Wands, which is the next card. We're going to be talking about this next week, in the bottom, right? So now the Four of Wands, and especially in this deck, it can mean the pillars of a house. But I love this depiction because you see all these beautiful fruits, and you see the fruits of their labor, and then you got a marching band, and I think what it is that all of this energy, all of this, you working hard and you going, I think you have achieved a lot. Like, just through your persistence, through you doing what you had to do, right? And I get a real strong, I had to grow up fast kind of. I really get the feeling like you had to deal with adult responsibilities. You probably had to see things that no young person should need to deal with, before the age, at a young age. But I think that you have accomplished a lot, and I'm getting a feeling as if it's fairly recently. But what I'm getting is that your current accomplishments, like you've definitely had some milestones, and maybe this could be a house, it could be a certain position with a job, but pentacles are always what you value, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be money. But the thing I love about this two of coins, this one might definitely make when we start to talk about this card, is that I love it because the bathtub's overflowing, right? And she's got one coin and she's got another, one up, one down. And I always kind of take that as the, can I let my cable bill be, how many days can I go past the due date before, because we've all had months like that where you're not trying to skimp it, but you're looking at, okay, the next time I get paid, I'd really like to take that vacation because I need a break, but I also need to have the brakes replaced on my car, It's kind of like, where should I put this money? Where should I put this energy, right? And here I have a feeling that you're deciding, and again, the fact that this is in between, you're deciding whether or not, you should put your energy towards something that you feel like you've already accomplished, because you kind of see that's on that side of the coin. Should I put it towards that? Or should I strike out and do something new? And the thing that I really get the vibe of is that the something new you know a lot about, like you might have your eye on new horizons, right? And again, I get the feeling like you're that middle person. Like, have you ever, like, when you decide to take a vacation and you start researching, you start pricing out flights, or you start reading books about where you're going, and you start, you really, I get this vibe like, this person, they've been with their little teepee for a while, right? So it isn't that you've kind of been there, done that, and it's a great achievement. Look at all that you've created. But it's almost like you want to strike out and see something new. There's a lot of green in this too. And instead, the other feeling that I'm kind of seeing is that this is more like, you know how they always say hunter-gatherers versus, what is it when you talked about domestication? So domestication versus striking out and kind of doing new things. I'm getting kind of a vibe of that. It's like you're deciding which do you value more? Staying in one place and kind of continuing to cultivate something that you feel like you've already achieved. Or I am getting a strong, and again, because this is the card that we've been talking about, is that I definitely get the sense that maybe you have your eye on some kind of new endeavor. You've really been looking at it, you've been studying it, you're passionate about it, and other people might follow you too. This new endeavor might involve other people, and other people who are really on board with what you want to do. But it would mean leaving or not staying with your current situation. You have to make a decision where you're going to put that coin towards, right? Am I going to vacation or fix my car? And the future, you got the High Priestess and you got the Five of Wands. Now, the High Priestess, we had a tarot on the High Priestess. She is a very, very strong character. Now, if you are a woman, and you could be a male watching this video and exuding the essence of the High Priestess, I think that I really get the feeling as if, and again, because this is about passion, this is about drive, the High Priestess is about knowing a lot. She's very wise. In the background, you see the tree of knowledge, and she's sitting, she's floating, levitating between the two sphinxes. And the roots of the tree are there with the moon, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful card. But I do think that in the future, the jury is still going to be a little bit out. Well, I'm seeing one of two futures here. One scenario is that you might need a little bit more time because the decision that you're deciding to make is a very heavy one. It's a heavy one. And the thing that I'm thinking is that because the High Priestess is about leaning back, like she pauses, she leans, she has all of the knowledge of the entire universe within herself, right? And it's almost as if you're leaning back to really kind of sink into that energy, because I think that this decision that you would make might involve a little bit of conflict. The other interpretation that I'm getting is that if you do decide that, I'm getting a feeling like as if you would, and again, because the Three of Wands is the basis of this read, I think you would strike out on your own. And when you do, or if you do, it would really open up a new world of understanding for you. But the problem is that not everyone is going to understand that. It's going to cause petty conflict. It's almost like your decision you're doing in a very mature and almost higher knowing way, but everyone else is just going to be like, why'd they do that? Da, 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 da. It's almost like, again, like they're running around like children. She looks like she's watching. She almost looks like a school teacher watching these children, right? And it's almost like, okay, I need to do, the other thing that I get is, again, with the wisdom of the Three of Wands, it's the High Priestess is just so heavy. She is very, it's almost like you have an awakening, right? It's like you see things, you go out and you understand things. By going out and doing this new thing, you're unlocking a piece of yourself, and you feel like that piece of yourself is connected to the very fabric of the universe. And I know that sounds really heavy, but that's what I'm getting. And I just think that, when you do follow that Three of Wands, when you go out and you learn, and again, she has a book, when you go out and learn and do things that you are passionate about, it's almost, you ever have that feeling when you start learning something really deep? And I felt that way when I learned tarot. Then you turn on the television, you watch reality television, and everyone's just, they're fussing about really stupid, trivial, kind of everyday, not as important things. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. It's almost like as you follow your Three of Wands, you're just looking at the rest of the world like it's a reality television show. Like, oh gosh, you can't go back to romper room, right? You're going to be opening up to bigger things that you really, really care about, and you feel, that show you things that, and I think it's part of your life path too. But I do get this feeling as if you're almost moving forward. This is going to be a milestone in your life to go out. It's almost like you're completing one cycle and you're really ready to go in a new direction. Other people are not going to get it, but you're going to get it, and you're going to get it in a real deep way. But the other thing that I can see is that the other thing that you kind of see with the Four of Wands is a lot of times you think of the pillars of a house, and the Ten of Coins really wanted to come out. And here it's very clearly a family photo. And what is interesting is this deck is different because you do have a little bit of a snake slithering through. But what I'm getting is that maybe one of these decisions in you honoring yourself and you kind of growing and going down your own path, maybe you will feel like you're moving away from either family or family beliefs, because the other thing is coins are what you value, what brings value. But the other thing is that if you are this kid growing up and you later become the high priestess, you have earned your right to learn and become whatever you want to become, and it's almost your destiny to do that too. If this new horizon and this wisdom that what you're learning, you might have to make the decision to go with what you want to learn versus staying with possibly, and I'm not telling you to definitely, it's you would also know the balance. That's the other thing with the two sphinxes, because family values, because the other thing is this is a tree, and you think of a family tree and the roots seem like it's with the yin, and then the top seems with it's the yang, and the yang is the activity, right? It almost looks like, I'm sorry, I know I'm getting all deep with this, but I do think that and the fact that it's going from the 4 to the 3, it's almost like going backwards. I think you're going to need to balance. You're going to need to balance what your goals, and you're going to be very wise about it. You know what you want to do. You know it, and it's almost your calling. The universe is imbuing you with the knowledge. Where you're going, where you want to go, is definitely gonna lead you down a path of your own self-development, which is going to be very spiritual. But the other thing is that I get this strong feeling like you feel like you'll be abandoning some kind of family or religious or some kind of values that you learned when you were young. But the problem is that these values were challenging. They exposed you to some not some nice things at a young age. And that's where you kind of feel like I am kind of getting I'm tired of the juvenile BS kind of thing. Like, okay, I'm going to go do what spiritually enlightens me and makes me feel safe and it makes me grow. That's the other thing that I'm getting, is that you should be safe to grow. but this does feel like it might involve family, and it might involve some, going against the grain a little bit. I don't get the feeling like you would, you're not going to burn any bridges, but I do think that you are going to set some boundaries. But where you're going is really going to open you up spiritually. And the card that you got, which I thought was so amazing, is that you got discipline. I can accomplish what I set my mind to. Now, with the fact that we definitely have some pentacles, this could be fiscal independence. Like maybe you're working hard to be on your own. This might be breaking loose from some things, some beliefs that didn't serve you in the past. But what I think is beautiful is that if you look at all the colors and then look at all the colors in the tree, it's like that discipline. Doesn't it look like the same thing? It looks like a little patchwork, guys. And I do think that what it is that I think you do need to be disciplined, because I am getting the feeling like maybe some family beliefs really kind of make you feel stunted. It makes you feel like you're stuck, or like you'll never get out of these learned behaviors. But just know that you are much farther than you imagine. You really are. You're very wise. And I think your family knows that. And they care about and they want to support you. I just don't think that, the other thing is that the high priestess is very mysterious. I don't think that some people in your family might not understand. They might not understand how much you've grown or how much you know. You might even seem a little not scary, but just they don't, you've ever had that where sometimes people don't get it, I fear that a lot too. I mean, goodness knows, I never thought that I'd get into tarot, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Shelley, our tarot person. So, but it's definitely that kind of vibe. But I do think that your family will always be there to support whatever you need to. And if there has been any type of, and I'll use the term trauma very lightly, but if you had challenging things growing up, they do want you to be happy and healthy, and they might not always get it, but discipline. I can accomplish whatever you can accomplish, whatever you set out to do. And the other thing is, you're a lot smarter than you think. You're a lot smarter, because remember how we said, a lot of times, the Three of Wands is the modest leader. You got the High Priestess. You are way wise, pile number 2. Very wise. All right, so let's go on. And oh my gosh, we're really running long, guys. Sorry. There's a few of these videos, but deck number 3. So we got the Vice Versa Tarot, and let's go ahead. Let's get into it. So, ooh. Ooh. How does the Three of Wands manifest in deck number 3? Ooh. Okay, I'm really glad I went with these cards. But lucky the left-footed owl. Alright guys, now the thing about this card is the Vice Versa, when it flips, it means the reverse, which I know is always kind of a challenge, but I'm good with reversals. So here in the past, we've got the Three of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles in reverse. So I really love this image, because you see that the Four, he's looking out at these towers. He's like the ruler of all that he sees, right? So in the past, I feel like you've had to work hard for everything that you have. I feel like, the Three of Pentacles is normally a card of cooperation, of collaboration. And when you look at the back, you can see he's well dressed and he's kind of standing on his own, right? I think in that sense that you really kind of had to work on your own, either that or when you did have to collaborate, sometimes it didn't come very easily. So it's almost like you really kind of had to fight tooth and nail for every little bit that you got. This is definitely feeling a little bit more money related. The Four of Pentacles upright usually means someone who's holding on, like he's very stable. He's got his pentacles and they're not going anywhere, right? And when you look at it in reverse, it's almost as if, again, reversals usually mean that it's either an exaggerated or a blocked expression. But here I'm getting a sense as if it's just always been a really hard, steady climb for you. And you've put a lot of work. You work hard. I also get the feeling is that you value your money. You value the work that you do to earn your money, and it's hard earned. It's hard earned. So when you earn it, when you have those coins, you hold on to them. It's almost like you guard them a little bit. You look out, and now the vibe that I'm getting though is because in the middle, in the current, and this is right underneath the Three of Wands. And remember, the wands are that energetic. It's that excitement, right? They're the energy suit. Underneath, you got the Four of Cups, and so we got another four. We got two fours here. We got two threes, and we got two fours. And what you see here is you see someone who's looking out at the spilled cups, and he's absolutely numb, right? He's absolutely numb. And again, the fact that, pentacles are the earthly things, the physical, the money, right? And cups are the emotional. It's the emotional fulfillment. And when you look out, he's looking out at a very stark landscape, and he's unemotional about it. It's almost as if, okay, I did the work. He almost looks the same, right? It looks like the young version of this person. How hard you work now, saving every penny, it's mine. And then, once you continue on that path, you have stability, right? You have security. But it's almost like saying at what cost, right? Because you're looking out on your empire and you can see it, but it's sterile, right? You have your pentacles, they're yours, but in the middle, where you are currently, it's almost as if how hard earned the money is. You would never waste your money or squander your money. But it's almost like you're trying to, and again, this is underneath the three, you're trying to balance fire and water, right? You're trying to look towards something that would excite you. You're trying to look to other horizons where you don't lose anything that you've gained, but you don't feel empty either. Like you don't want to have to stand guard or fight tooth and nail for every single, penny that you earn. You almost, I'm getting a sense like you want freedom. You want freedom, and it's like, okay, why does it have to be one or the other? Because currently you're feeling like that freedom is just not available to you. Like I'm getting kind of a sense like, okay, will I ever feel that excitement again? Because I'm getting this real sense like you do not want to give up your security. You'd rather stay up in the tower with the security, even though it's not really fulfilling you. And there's a part of you that really is jonesing to do something kind of exciting, but you don't want to risk. I think that you need to take action. That's the other thing. That you need to take action. You need to fix your heart. You're tired of feeling blah or meh, but you have had to work hard. You can never forget how hard you had to work to keep your security. So you never want to go back, but you are just feeling like it's making you feel a little devoid, and you don't want to feel devoid. You want to look out at the horizon. You want to look out at the future and think, what's coming? You know, you want to be excited about the future. Now, as we go forward, Holy Toledo! Oh my gosh, guys! A variation of this came up in another deck. It went from 3 to I think it was in the first deck. You went from 3 to 2. But the 2 you got in reverse. So, and we had a tarot on the 2 of Wands last week. We didn't have this card. And you see how he has the same globe, right? Except he, you know, this tower, you know, this is the step before the 3. But here, again, you see the back of the person and he's just staring out at the setting sun. They almost look like pentacles, right? You got the 2 of Wands in reverse. You got the 9 of Wands in reverse, and you got the 7 of Pentacles. We got Wands and Pentacles, guys. So what I'm getting here, and I'm sorry, I'll speak. I'll start talking, start splaining. But the 2 of Wands is that you're not going to make a move. You're not going to make a move. As much as you are looking out into the horizons and you want to get excited, you're going back a step. That 3 is really calling to you. It's like, hey, you look so bored. You look so unfulfilled. Don't you want to come over to the water's edge? Don't you want to see your ships coming in? Wouldn't that be exciting? But the moment that you think or even consider that, because he's not even looking, right? He's not even like, you know, this guy, the 3 of Wands is calling to him, but he's not paying attention. He's staying in that, I'm going to stay in my tower. I'm going to stay in my stability. And the reason why you're staying in your stability is because you got the 9 of Wands in reverse. And the 9 of Wands here has a little bit, this one is a little bit of a temptress card, because the 9 of Wands is like you've been through the war. Like you fought the battle and you came out the other side, but you're guarded, right? You're not fallen for it, right? This guy has already been through the war. He's got one eye and he's got one rod. He conquered and he got all these other rods. And someone's like, hey, can you I see you want to step away from those rods. Come follow me, baby. And you're like, nope. I see what you're doing. You're calling out to me with the 3 of Wands, right? And what you have is, and you got the 7 of Pentacles upright. This is not even reverse, y'all. You got the 7 of Pentacles upright. And the crown of this is, if you look closely, you see a little skull there. This is such when we had a tarot, this is going to be one of them. But this guy is a farmer, and he looks a little dissatisfied with how fast his pentacles are growing, but he's evaluating, right? He's evaluating. He's saying, okay, is this what I expected? Is this what I wanted, right? So again, in the fact that, I really get the feeling like you've had to fight tooth and nail. You've had to fight tooth and nail for every little advance in security that you've gotten. And so as much as this calls to you, the 3 of Wands is like a temptress. The 3 of Wands is like that chick who's like, hey baby, you want to come down to the river's edge. This would be fun. And you're like, no, but you're torn. You're torn. You don't want to, it's like a siren call. You want to feel passion. You want to feel excited. That's water and fire. That's a ball of water and fire, guys. That is having your heart engulfed in something that would be really exciting. But you almost feel like it's a trap. Like if you leave your tower, you're just going to be put through the ringer, right? But you're evaluating. You're looking at 7 Pentacles and like, it's still not enough, right? It's not. you're telling yourself that I have a feeling that right now the way that, and again, this is how the Three of Wands is manifesting in your life. There are opportunities available to you right now to do something different, to do something spontaneous, but you are terrified. You don't want to see it. You don't want to see it because you think it's a trap, because I'll be honest, guys, this feels like a scarcity mindset. Like you're afraid to lose, and you feel like you've already been through the battle. You've already had to fight so hard for what you have, and what you have, you feel like you have a lot, but you don't feel like it's enough. It's like that middle, it's that hunger for more, and you don't want to do anything impulsive. You will not do anything, even though you're not the happiest emotionally right now. You will not do anything that will threaten your financial security. I'm definitely getting a money vibe. And you'll stay in the tower. Now, but you're tempted though. What it is you're weighing the pros and cons. But I don't think, you know that scene in Star Wars, it's a trap. It's a trap. That's what I feel like you keep telling yourself. But I do think you're torn, though. You're so torn. But you're not moving, though. You might change your mind at some point, but right now the jury's way out. Jury's way out. I don't think you don't want to do anything foolish. That's the other thing. You don't want to do anything foolish. Now your two cards. Oh, wow. Oh gosh, guys, I love how it just ties it up in a nice bow. You got patience. I accept that everything happens in divine order. And talk about patience, right? Look at these two guys. You look at these two guys. You got one guy who's, he's got the pretty blonde beckoning to him, and he's like, I don't know. I don't think so. And then you got the other guy who's really like, should I wait? How should I tell this? So patience, and that is also a virtue of the Pentacles too, is that they're very patient. They move slowly, right? And the other thing is you got abundance. I am a limitless being, and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. Gosh, guys, does that not sum it up? Because you have, and look at all this red, you have blocked wand energy. You're staying in the tower with the 2. You're not, you're worn out with the 9 in reverse. You just can't, you don't want to risk it. But what the universe is telling you is that yes, you've come a long way, and you've been very patient. And your patience will pay off. But the other thing is that I think it is cautioning you against a scarcity mindset. Energy really follows thought. And if you think that there's not enough, then that's, this card really, wow. This card, so the 7 of Pentacles with patience and abundance. Wow, guys. I mean, I think it does. I do think that this is just telling you that it does want you to, I think it's telling you to have some enthusiasm, because the other thing is all the colors in this really look like the colors in that card. You got the yellow and the blue and the red and the blue. I think it's telling you that it's not as bleak as it seems. And I know that's really hard when you've been through hard times, when you've known hard times. I know it's trite when someone says you don't understand what it's like to not have what you need, right? And, when you swear that you're never going to be in that position again, how easy is it for someone to say, well, you're abundant, you feel like it's a load of crap, and it probably is, right? But I do think that it does, you have come a long way, but it doesn't want you to stay in this energy. It doesn't want your feelings to be like this, because the other thing is that in order to have opportunities like this, you do have to know that you're limitless. I am a limitless being. I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. And look at that, guys. He's manifesting that. That's passion. And I do think that, you do whatever you feel is right. but I do feel like, where you feel safe to, just know that you are abundant. You can have whatever you want to have, right? So, let yourself be a little free. Try not to let fear or the sense of lack tie you down, because that will make you a prisoner. But I do see it getting better, because the other thing about, again, with it saying patience, I do think that your patience is going to pay off. Your patience is going to pay off. And I do see you being very practical, which is a good thing. That's not a bad thing. But definitely, try to be happy, with your pentacles, either that, or I always do what I call a smile of the day. It's like sometimes when things, and especially nowadays, things feel really kind of like, stuck, or just, really kind of sad and, gray. But there's always there's something in the day that you can be, that stands out to me that I can be thankful for. Just one little thing that really, made me happy. Like, I remember the other day I found a ladybug climbing up my curtain and that blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, what are you doing there, And it's something as little as that, just look for the things that make you happy, one every day. All right, guys, so that is enough of me trying to fan sunshine your way. But I hope you enjoyed. Yep, the How to Tarots do run a little bit longer, but I hope you enjoyed it. We have several really great videos coming up. We are close to 50 subscribers. Oh my gosh, guys, I am so thrilled, and I thank everyone for your support. Thank you for being there and subscribing. We're going to do something fabulous for 50. I'm not sure what you would like to see. If you want to comment below, I am going to do a special read. We'll figure out what we want to do, but we will definitely celebrate 50 in style. I hope everyone can enjoy their St. Patrick's Day. Wear green, be happy, be healthy, and be safe. On Thursday, we are doing the D20, which is the fantasy read that I do once a month. And then on Saturday, Saturday is going to be National Plant Day. It's National Plant and Flower Day. So we're going to do a real special read for the weekly energy card reading. So I hope you can join me then, and take care, and I'll catch you later. Bye.